Good afternoon, everyone, and I guess we'll get started. It's 1 o'clock. Andy, our mayor, is off sick today, so I will be sitting in for every part of this meeting that we have here today or tonight. I probably won't get through it as quick as Dan did a couple years ago, but we'll try. Anyways, I'll call this meeting to order at 1 o'clock. I have recommendation that the agenda for the November 6th, 2023 regular meeting of council be accepted and passed as amended. We have a closed session report, OPS 2023-040, Arthur Works Yard Land Purchase Opportunity, bylaw number 103-2023, being a bylaw to authorize the executive execute an agreement of purchase and sale. Can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by Lisa, seconded by Penny. Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you. That is carried. Councillor Burke, do you have any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
I do, with two reports, two planning reports. DC 2023-028 and DC 2023-029.
Okay, we'll have to pull those out then.
Yeah, my interest is indirect as two appendices, one on each report, was prepared by my employer.
Okay, all right, so we'll have to pull those out separately and deal with those at that time. All right, thank you. Councillor Rankin.
No, I have none.
Councillor Hearn.
I probably should declare one around a planning report too, 2C. So that's B79-23.
What was that number again?
B79-23.
79-23. Oh, DC 2023-30.
Yeah, I think it's item 2C, you said?
Yeah.
All righty. Okay, and I have none.
Need to know why, Karen?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think it's a deemed conflict of interest in that I'm in the radius, so I'm on the map.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, righto.
So
Okay.
you would have got a planning notice? Yeah.
Gotcha. Right. This is for Stuart Wrights. Okay. Thank you. All right. I have a recommendation to go into close. The meeting is closed pursuant to section 239 2 of the Municipal Act 2001 specifically for labor relations, employee negotiations, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before the administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or our local board. Can I get a mover and seconder for that, please? Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Rankin. Any discussion around that? All in favor? Thank you. We are enclosed.
Just give me one moment to pause the record.
Thank you. Wellington North. Received report OPS 2023-040 Arthur Works Land Yard Purchase Opportunity, and that council approved the confidential direction to staff. All in favor?
Did you get a move in second?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. I have another recommendation here moved by Councillor Rankin and seconded by Councillor Hearn, that the council of the corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive HR 2023-004 non-union employee and council remuneration, and that council approve the confidential direction to staff. All in favor? Thank you. And finally, I have another recommendation out of closed, that the council of the corporation of the Township of Wellington North approve the closed meeting minutes for October 23rd, 2023. I'll say that was moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Hearn. All in favor? Great, thank you. Then we just go right in there. All right, I have another recommendation moved by Councillor Hearn and seconded by Councillor Rankin. That the council of the corporation of the Township of Wellington North recess the regular council meeting of November 6th at 2:02 p.m. for the purpose of holding a court of revision for the George Kirkness Ash Bridge drain. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. We are recessed. So go right from here. So yeah, we have to elect a chair for this quarter revision. So the purpose of the quarter revision meeting is to consider the schedule of assessments for George Kirkness Ash Bridge Drain Lot 2 east side of Owen Sound Road, Concession 9, and Lot 3 west side of Owen Sound Road, Concession 9, Township of Wellington North. Anyone want to volunteer to be the chair? I think we all are.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sherry. No, it was
Sorry.
Sherry, Steve, and Penny.
That's right.
Okay.
So I'm out.
Sherry or Penny?
Steve, I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah, okay, great. All right. All in favor. I guess I'll chair this. All right. Has any correspondence been received for this drain?
No, there has not.
Have any appeals been received for this?
No,
Okay.
there has not.
Are there any comments from the property owners?
Or would you like to? Okay, I
Okay.
think our drainage superintendent will go first. Sorry.
Sure. Nope. Sorry, go ahead. Should be a green light there. Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So from the last consideration report meeting, there was an error in the report. There was one parcel that was actually, it was combined with another parcel and then removed. So when we started investigating it, kind of an odd story. MPAC had it, or no, Omafra's mapping had it parcel there. And then when we went on to Wellington County, parcel disappeared, so. So we're gonna go with the Wellington County, the most up-to-date information, so that's what we went with, so.
Okay.
Dealing with that, we updated the schedules, to account for that, took that parcel out, and, the assessments were divided amongst, the properties as outbid through the normal procedures, so those were the original schedules that were submitted, for this, core revision. So the first thing would be to, my recommendation is that those be adopted to account for that change. The ash bridges have also, we've been contacted by a contractor who's going to be doing the tile work. And, I have to confirm with you and let us speak at this point. But it appears that some other property now was, their old contractor had, it tiled the 4.4 hectares, at the very top end of the watershed, was tiled, one way. And they're planning now to actually bring this into the tile, cross the ridge of land and go into, main part of the drain. This would mean that, the surface flow would still go, in the upper portion, but the subsurface would go into, the interval right below it.
Right.
So to account for that change, I have their assessment, for the top interval for outlet assessment being, about, $830. So, since that number would be half of it would go, and then half of it would go, would be taken out of it because, they're tiling it to the interval, to, the next interval below. So after start doing all the math, I ended up having that their assessment potentially would change, for that interval for the gross assessment. It would drop by $409. So Corporation has, if they can confirm that that's the plan that the contractors plan to do, we can change it here. That $409, I can divide it amongst everyone in that upper portion of the watershed. But that would mean that we have to have another court revision, to let those people, here, to voice their concerns about that change, or, we could put it onto the roads, and then, it would stop at that point. We wouldn't have to have another meeting. So those are the sort of two options that you have at this point before the court revision.
Maybe get a clarification from Karen here as well.
So you said a 409 increase or reduction?
Theirs would go down $409, and that $409 would have to go to someone else, or it could go to everyone, divided amongst,
Everyone else on the drain.
everyone else in the drain. So if we divide amongst everyone else in the drain, those other people in the drain have to have the ability to appeal that change. Or we put it on the roads. The roads is here in the municipality, and we can, just sort of move along as normal. So that's two options at this point.
So right now, the municipality's share on the roads that we will be paying for this is around 122,000. So I think my recommendation would be, rather than holding another quarter revision for $400, I think it would be very different. It was 4,000 or 40. It's $400. It's pretty negligible, but I'll defer to our treasurer. But that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, over the whole cost of the assessment. Yeah, it's not very much.
Yes, because the entire project is is $530,000.
That includes 2 road crossings.
Mhm.
So, all of your assessment is a special assessment due to the road crossings.
You're on Sidewood 2 there. Yeah.
So Neil, they will have to approve, you mentioned that Court of Revision needs to approve revisions to the assessments.
Yes.
And they need to be adopted to reflect the revisions,
Yes.
and that they need to approve the tile drainage installation amendments, which result in a $409 reduction. And further, that the Court of Revision approves a $409 increase on the roads assessment.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I would like to just confirm with the aspirations and have that come in and comment that that's what their intent is at this point, because the latest plans that we were originally provided when we worked at one way, when we have rough plans at this point, so I'd like them to speak it.
Sure. Can you just state your name when you get up here for us, please? Thanks.
And we planned, the whole thing started with us, and we had plans for our property to be tiled. And the original one was taking 4 hectares towards the back, where the watershed is. But we had a third person give us a quote last week for our tile drainage, and he suggested not taking it that direction because the tile that's back there in Ferris Martin's field isn't adequate for us to take our water into that.
Tile.
What's the thing? Catch basin or whatever it is?
Yeah, there's a catch basin.
Yeah, so whatever, where it goes to take it away, it's not adequate to take it that way, so he suggested that we take it, that they go through our hill that's on our property.
Right.
And take it towards the front of the road, which adds another $7,500 to our tiling costs. But it takes the water that direction and takes it all away from the back, sending it all to the front, so it's not going all the way around and coming back.
All the way back. Okay,
Okay?
thank you for that. Yeah,
Because we're not taking the water that direction. We're not using the water from that around, because we water pretty first, so it's not going all the way around.
You know, people come and figure it, you know, at the end of the year, on your property, terrace will be big enough to,
Right.
so
It's gonna end up,
rather than have a,
in the same spot. It's gonna end up in the same spot at the end, it's just the very top portion of it, you're diverting the water away from the very top. That's the change. It's all ending out in the same system at
Right.
the end, it's just.
getting there in a different direction.
Yeah, that's like.
Yep.
we
Yeah, if you want to come up to the,
believe it's
yeah, we'll have to get you to come up here so people can hear you.
And his name.
really how this stuff works.
And your name, please, sir.
I'm Doug Aspridge, but we have 3 quotes, see, I think to do it the proper way and do it once, do it right, I think it would be, listening to the engineer, I think it would be better if we came across our property and come into the municipal game further on. And before the 9 dollars, I mean, if it's, it's, we're not on the money really, we just want to be able to farm our land
Right,
and get rid of the water, make sure it's not affecting, we're not passing the problem on, right? And we believe, and again, it's to engineers, and you know, they're always people, and they know what they're talking about. If they say there is some drain, if we tap into that, there's more than probable risk that you're trying to put a quart in a pint pot, sort of thing, right? You know what that means?
yep,
Too much. It's got nowhere to go. So if we do that, I don't think that's really the right way to go for the long-term permanent fix.
Yep.
I think it would be better if we go across, because then it's going to cost a lot more money. Plus, but it's the permanent fix. So I think it's a proper fix.
okay. Thank you very much for that. Do you have any more or?
No, I don't know. Is there anyone else who has
Yeah.
questions? And or other concerns?
This is your chance to speak up. Anyone else concerned? You guys at the back? Can you guys come up and have your question up here, please? Thank you. Yeah, I'll have to get your name too.
The land.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
The whole process, I am very disappointed in. I am basically when this started, the latest couple bought a farm, they knew, or at least they should have, that the bottom is a little wet. They should have known that the 6 acre top is a little wet. That is part of your purchase. So if you want a tile drainer, I have no objection to that. Let them go. But I'm asking you as councilman, how in the world can you approve $100,000 an acre for that 6, 7 acres there? I know in town you pay that kind of money. There's not one farmer who's paying that kind of money. Second of all, I have basically no say in that. The creek runs through my farm. There is no benefit. Nothing. And I'm gonna get 10, 12, 14,000 dollar bill for what? That same water is still gonna run. My understanding is that new pipe that comes underneath the highway at $1,000, I believe it is. That's only 12 inch. But less than 400 feet up from that site, there is a concrete 5x7 or something. Okay, so what is that 12-inch pipe gonna do? I'm just dumb, but not. If you want to save everybody on money, those two ditches beside the second side on the what I call south and north side never were cleaned out upon the time that the there. Not that long, 9 years. But my understanding is it's done 20, 25 years. The township want to save some money. They want to save a pile of money for everybody involved in here. Clean those two ditches. I took time. The one is deeper than the other one, but the other one is what I call south side. It's only this. No water can go anywhere.
Right.
They're not putting that pipe deeper. The other sections are not gonna be affected. So the water's still gonna run the same way, it's gonna go. Water flows downhill. It's still gonna come down there, except now just a little bit different, and we're gonna spend $600,000. I don't know, I gotta work too hard. I don't know, I'm not used to giving this gentleman a blank check and just filling out the amount. That's the feeling I got.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's a problem.
Well, I think most drain cleanings or something like this actually benefits everyone that's on that drain as well. I know you might not see it right today, but for, I think when you go to sell it, if you ever go sell your property, I think that's when you'll realize the value of having this drain.
Can't see mine, because I had no benefit when I bought it. They're not gonna do nothing, they're gonna clean out 100 feet. So they're not gonna. The water's still gonna go the same.
Well, no, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Do you have any rebuttal to that at all? Thank you.
Just for clarification, the pipe that's going under Highway 6 is 900 millimeter, so it's
1 second here. We want to let this guy talk and then we'll, if you guys want to come back up, we're happy to have you after. Okay, we'll leave that out of here just for now. Carry on.
So the pipe underneath the highway is 900 millimeters, so that's a 3-foot diameter HDPE and steel pipe, so that has a lot more capacity than the existing ditch. The existing ditch is very overgrown at this point, and it's not graded very well either. There's a lot of ups and downs, so even though that culvert on Highway 6 is very large, just downstream of it, there's about a 2.5 foot rise in the ground level. So even if that culvert's running really high, it has to jump up to go farther downstream. So not as effective as the system we're putting in right now is an underground pipe. We did originally talk with the landowners to have it as an open ditch. And during the process, the landowners who the work was being done, they probably didn't want that option. A number of landowners expressed specifically that they did not want an open ditch on their property, so hence why we're going with a tile system. And we had to go a little bit farther than originally downstream because the farmer has already tiled part of the drain downstream. So we had to make sure there was sufficient capacity in that area too. So,
okay.
So we dealt with all the aspects.
All right, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments from the crowd? All right, thank you. So I have
So first of all, you'll need to vote on the recommendations that I had outlined earlier, so you'll want to move on seconder.
can we,
Yep, the Court of Revision approves the revisions to assessments to be adopted to reflect the amendments made, and further that the child drainage installation amendment be approved, and further that the Court of Revision approve a $409 increase on the roads portion of the assessment. Correct. And so you'll get a mover. and
Okay, can I get a
seconder.
mover and seconder for that? Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Sherry. You want me to reread it again or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's, no, I'm all right with
We'll
that.
Just call your vote and then we'll do that one.
Yep, all right, so with that amendment, all in favor? All right, thank you. And I have the following recommendation, moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Rankin, that the Court of Revision concur with the K-Smart Associated Limited report and engineer assessment schedules dated August 30th, 2023, file number 22-198 for George Kirkness Ashbridge Drain, Lot 2, east side of Owen Sound Road, Concession 9, and Lot 3, west side of Owen Sound Road, Concession 9, Township of Wellington North. All in favor? Thank you. That has been carried. So I have, recommendation here, moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Burke, that the Court of Revision convene to consider. Convened to consider George Kirkness Ashbridge Drain be adjourned at 2:23 p.m. All in favor? Right, thank you. Yep, we're good. Thank you very much. Thanks for your comments. Have a good day. So I have, welcome back, Councillor Hearn. I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Hearn and seconded by Councillor Rankin, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North resume the November 6th, 2023 regular meeting of council at 2:23. All in favor? Thank you. We are back in business. So we have a couple of things here today on our schedule. Let me close that off. I think we've already done this, right?
This meeting, yep.
Yeah.
You follow this one.
Yeah, okay. So we got that done as well. And I guess up next, we have a presentation by Ironia. Please.
With that pulled up, or you want them just to follow on paper? Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me today. The chair, this is just a report on the emergency management annual program, and the following report outlines the requirements set out in the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act and the Ontario Regulation 380/04 and how the municipality of Wellington North has met those requirements for 2022. So I'm just going to quickly hit the highlights. So the program committee, the township has a meeting and they met in person on February 15th. Those minutes were attached. They met to review the township emergency management program that includes the hazard identification and risk assessment, emergency response plan, training needs, proposing annual exercise, and public education. In terms of the emergency response plan, the current one was passed by council in 2020. And moving on to the training, so the required training for 2023 has changed from the 2018 guidance notes from the province. Both primary and alternates satisfy these training requirements for this year. And so on top of the prescribed training that we covered through the emergency management exercise annually, we also provided a few other opportunities. So we did the EM 200, that's the basic emergency management course offered. We did the senior elected officials workshop this year, IMS 200, and then we have some self-paced presentations and training that can be provided as needed to primary alternates. In terms of the annual emergency management exercise, that was completed on July 24th, based in a winter weather kind of ice storm scenario, really just testing out how our current plans, policies, and procedures identify how to provide shelter to members of the public during an emergency, reviewing how coordination with two different organizations and jurisdictions works, as well as familiarizing the municipal emergency control group members with the incident management system, their roles, their responsibilities, and the emergency operations. How that works. So some of the key recommendations and outcomes out of that exercise were making sure we're assigning those incident management system roles. So through this, I realized that some positions weren't assigned, so that's been corrected now and been updated in the notification as to reflect those changes. There's a desire for improved communication information that was found, so that's both between the incident management system functions, but then also with outside emergency services and the public as necessary. So that's something that we'll be focusing on moving forward into the new year. As well, there was a request, if there's known sort of prior potential incident, to have meetings with those partners beforehand. So that's actually been added to the winter weather plan. So emergency management will initiate those meetings virtually, quickly get those key partners together before that happens, so we know who's on call during that time. As I'm sure we all last holiday season. So, and then the lastly was the relocation of the Red Cross trailer. So it was initially sitting in the Township of Wellington, but now it has been moved to the Mount Forest Sportsplex, as we know that the need is greater and these kinds of supplies, so that's been moved and it's there. So now in terms of public education, every municipality is required to have that public education providing information on risks and public safety and how to be more prepared for emergencies. So emergency preparedness week was May 7th to 13th this year. During that week, we had information on the social media page. There was an ad in the Wellington Advertiser, we have radio ads, and we also have promotional materials at the local libraries. Further, emergency management coordinators took part in presentation to kindergarten class in Mount Forest on June 23rd with our partners at the North Fire Service and OP. We did the Safe Communities Day on October 5th again, where many students across the county had the opportunity to view a video we made and talk to emergency management staff if they had any questions. We continued doing our Do One Thing promotion, so each month you can see what's there for that theme that we focus on. And then in terms of critical infrastructure, we are required to identify the facilities and other elements of the infrastructure that are required to be affected by emergencies. So that was updated at the Township Committee meeting that happened in February. It's managed digitally through the common operating picture map along with the county GIS division. So we're currently working with county GIS to update and simplify the infrastructure layer with the mapping software. Basically just to make it a little bit more seamless in terms of updating. So that's taking a little bit of time, but we're going to have that completed by the end of 2024, sorry. So in conclusion, the Township of Wellington has to build those mandatory historic environments that are in your
Thank you for that. Any questions for Aronia? Seeing none, I know I did 2 of the courses this year for emergency management, and I'm the second after Lisa, and she's after our mayor. So those are really really good info sessions and full of stuff that I didn't know about that I should know about and now do. So thank you for that. It was a great course. Yeah, we had the scenario, and it was based on the storm over the holidays, and learned a lot from that. I think a lot with coordination. It's nice to have the trailer up in Mount Forest as well for the next time that this hope might happen. So we want to be prepared to serve our residents as best as we can. So thank you for this report and everything that you guys do there. So any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, you're off the hook. All right, thanks very much. Yep. So I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Rankin, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report EM 2023-001 Annual Emergency Management Program Report regarding the status of the Township's Emergency Management Program for 2023 for information. And further, that the Council of the Township of Wellington North accepts the annual status report of the Township's Emergency Management Program for 2023. All in favor? Great, thank you. When do we, yeah. So can you do it now? Or we can, do you want to do it after all
Better do it after. planning.
Okay, we'll do that then. Okay. Perfect. I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Hearn, seconded by Councillor Burke, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North recess the November 6th, 2023 regular meeting of council at 2:31 PM for the purpose of holding a public meeting under the Planning Act with regards to Pinestone Construction Minor Variance A12-23, Pinestone Construction, Inc., Minor Variance A13-23, 2073022, Ontario, Inc., Minor Variance A1423, Pinestone Construction, Inc., Minor Variance A1523, Pinestone Construction, Inc., Minor Variance A1623, Pinestone Construction, Minor Variance A1723, and 940749 Ontario Limited Harvest View Zoning Bylaw Amendment 2023. So I will look to. Who am I looking to now? Yeah, we got the seconder and the mover. Okay. We'll go in, right? Yeah, okay, sorry, yeah. So all those in favor? Oh. Sorry, all those in favor? Thank you. All right, Committee of Adjustment. Gotta get to that one now. Yep, no, I just. Call this meeting to order at 2:33 PM. Do you have any declaration of community area interest, Councillor Burke?
No.
Councillor Rankin?
None.
Councillor Hearn?
No.
I have none either. So we'll look at the previous meeting. So I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Hearn, that the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes of October 23rd, 2023, A11/23 be adopted as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Holy moly. Andy took a good one to take off. So I have a recommendation here. And this is for application A1223 Pinestone Construction. There's a map on page 13 in your agenda showing the locations of the minor variance applications A1223 through A1723. The location of the subject property is described as Lot 3 RP 61M-255 Geographic Town of Arthur, with a civic address of 243 and 245 Smith Drive. The subject land is approximately 0.08 hectares in size. The location of the property is shown on the map attached. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief from the minimum front yard landscaped area requirements to permit a permanent parking space to be located in the front of the wall of the main dwelling within the driveway. The applicants are proposing to construct an additional dwelling unit, ADU, in each semi-detached unit on the lot. The subject property is zoned residential R2, which permits semi-detached dwelling and one attached ADU per lot. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. How was notice given?
Notices were mailed to property owners within 60 meters of the property and as well to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 20th, 2023.
All right, thank you. And I will ask the planner to present.
Awesome. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So before you today is application A12/23, which is requesting relief from lots located at 243 and 245 Schmidt Drive in Arthur. The subject lands are designated residential and zoned R2 within the township zoning bylaw. The applicants are proposing to construct an ADU within the semi-detached dwelling on the lot, and the following reliefs are requested for the minimum landscaped area requirements. So permitted in the bylaw is 50%. They're proposing 35%. an additional dwelling unit in each lot or in each unit on the lot. And the location of the parking area to be located in the front wall of the main dwelling. So technically within the driveway. So with the lots pushed back, planning staff had no concerns with the permanent parking space to be located outside of the front yard setback of 6 meters, and therefore we have no concerns as it meets the 4 tests. And I welcome any questions if you have any.
All right, any questions for Jessica? Sorry, I'll go to you, Sherry.
Okay, thank you. So I guess my question is we're gonna kind of go through all of these together, but my question is really is for all of them. With the reduction of frontage, and they're asking for a reduction in frontage, and there may be possibly other variances may be considered where needed. How is this gonna impact the weather maintenance specifically in the front yards as we continue to make lots smaller and grant more variances? How will that impact our winter snow removal?
Yeah, good question. I get Darren's on the line here for you, Councilor.
Yep, through you, Chair McCabe. The developer, Shane DeBoer, is on the line, and his agent Tracy from Van Harten is on the line, and hopefully they can speak to that for you.
Thank you.
They're in. They're on.
I was advised by Tracy that the developer is going to be speaking. She's still just as an attendee. So Shane is on the line.
All right, Shane, do you want to take a crack at that question with regards to snow storage? You might not be near.
Oh, it's there. I just can't get this out of the way. Okay. Shane, if you would turn your camera on, there you go.
Can you hear us, Shane? We can't hear you.
Or see you.
And Tracy's online too.
Tracy's just an attendee. She's declined to be moved in as a participant.
Okay. Are you there, Shane? Just wait about it, or- Darren, do you have a way to get a hold of him? Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, I would suggest moving to the next one, but I think he's the applicant on all of them. So
Okay. See what he says here.
Oh, his hand is raised. I see that your hand is raised, Mr. DeBoer, but I can't, we can't see you and we can't hear you.
Is it the iPhone?
Oh.
Your iPhone?
Okay, hold on.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, sorry about that. I had to switch over to the other computer.
No worries. You heard the question though?
I did hear the question, yes. So we're worried about snow removal. And you're thinking like, I'm not so much worried about snow, like the average snowbank off of a driveway really doesn't, I don't personally think exceed more than the front, like more than, it would be nowhere near the 35% that we're asking for on the front of the or on the side of the driveway there for those semi units. Yeah, that's kind of all I yeah, for snow removal there. Yeah.
I think we're getting a bit of feedback from your end. Maybe not.
You still can't hear me or no?
Oh, no, we can hear you. Okay, there, that's good. That's better. Yeah, I think that was Councillor Burke's main concern was snow removal and snow storage. Sherry?
Well, snow storage, I mean, I can appreciate the fact that they might have the capacity to potentially look after the snow on their property, but we do know from time to time up here in the north that when we're clearing sidewalks and or roads, that the banks do get fairly high. And sometimes it does end up on to the municipal portion of the parcels of land of the lots. So I just wonder when we're asking for, although it seems like minimum frontage or minimum percentages on some of these parcels and some is greater, that's my concern. I'm not so much concerned that the vehicle is going to be parked out front. I just want to make sure that we are not creating issues for ourselves.
Right. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Mhm.
Yes, go ahead, Shane.
So my guess would be, I mean, same thing that we would do on any other time that a front yard would get full of snow. We'd maybe just get a loader or backhoe into, I mean, if it ever got to that point, which personally, I don't think it would, but yeah, I see where you're going with that. You never really know, right? So with the winters that we have.
All right. Any follow-up question, Councillor Burke?
No, as I say, I'm just concerned about it. I think some of them are, I would say, are minor in nature, but when you're looking at almost, I think there's one that's almost half. There's one that's around 40%. There's one at 35%. And then I thought there was one at 26%. When you get into half, to me, I just don't think that that's minor in nature.
Okay. Fair enough. Now there is no sidewalk on that side either. That I will say would help our case out too, I would think too, right?
Like less needing to be removed because there's no sidewalk there, you mean?
Yeah, like, I mean, if there was, I'm not saying, if the sidewalk was there, we might also have to, like there'd be more off of that front yard too, to, whenever the snow blower goes through there to push off onto the front yard yet there as well for the 26% ones. But in that case, yeah, there's no sidewalk there on that side either, nor will there be. So personally, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but yeah.
Okay, thank you, Shane. Go ahead, Darren.
Just we might want to deal with the applications methodically. The application that speaks with the 26% reduction in front yard. Staff have put the agenda together a little bit differently to vote on the two requests separately. This one that we're looking at with a 35% reduction. If the committee has concerns with the 35% reduction, we could separate the two reliefs. But if we're talking about the reduction to 26%, that one's dealt with later in the agenda.
Okay. So this one here.
But we can't deal with that.
Yep.
right now.
I'm just going to make it work. Okay. No, we have not. So I'll ask if any other correspondence has been received that isn't listed on the agenda.
No, there has not.
Okay. Persons wishing to be notified of the decision must submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer. Any other questions or concerns? Yep, go ahead, Penny.
Thank you. I realize that the province wants a higher density but to me, this area is quite dense already without having a sort of a dense area doubled in density. And there was no definitive answer for the number of feet or meters that has a reduction just in percentage. So I'm just wondering how much that is having it so that the people living there have some of their green space reduced when the bylaw gives them a definite amount. And seeing as there's not going to be any sidewalk there, and you do have the snow being removed from the roads, how is that going to impact people, especially children, having to walk down the road, whether they're walking to school or just going to the bus stop? Or I would have a concern with that. And I'm sorry to be like a broken record on the variances for land, but you have the housing there, and I really don't like to see the land reduced for the space that they should have.
Right, thank you. Darren?
For clarification, Schmidt Drive does have a sidewalk. It's just on the other side of the street from where this application is.
So they hopefully wouldn't be walking down the road then. Yeah, you would have to on most municipal roads, in-town roads as well. Any other questions? Yep, go ahead.
It's just a minor. In section 3.3.1, the last line, it mentions that the application is located within a greenfield area of Mount Forest. I thought we were dealing with Arthur.
What page is that on, Councillor Rankin?
Page 6. 3.3.1.
Fix of the agenda package? It's in the public.
We're looking at the Committee of Adjustment, I think. Do you have that package open by any chance?
Is that where it reads section 3.3.1? Yeah, that's the public meeting agenda. We're on the Committee of Adjustment agenda.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was going on for that.
It does refer to Mount Forest in that, but that's the public meeting agenda after the Committee of Adjustment.
Oh, okay.
Nope, that's okay. So we got that done. Is there any member of the public or applicant that wishes to speak to this?
We didn't have anyone registered
Okay,
to speak via Zoom.
so no one is registered on Zoom to speak? Yep, I'm just about to get to him. So does the applicant wish to speak to this? Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
If you wanted to speak to this further.
Oh, no, just basically alls we're really trying to do too is by pushing those that far back is to get more of the cars off the road. As you know, is a bit of an issue everywhere in Arthur, really. But I think that's probably more of an issue than the snow buildup in the middle of the two units there. So anyway, that's kind of all I have. All I had to say on that. So
Okay, thank you. Yep, I'm just about to ask anyone else have any questions? Yeah.
Sorry, I was just wondering about the percentages. It doesn't give it in feet. How many feet are we looking at when you're looking at 35% reduction?
35% reduction. I think it's about, we go about 4 feet wider than the garage. Is that not, still not working?
We are in A12.
Yep, we're on A12. Sorry, you said that was how many feet back?
We bump it out about 4 feet, extra in the driveway. So we're taking 4 feet out of the center green space.
Right. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none? Oh, so we don't need to.
It's just a decision.
Okay, so we'll move on to the decision. That the minor variance applied for in application A1223 for the property described as part 19 and 20 reference plan 61R 22549 Village of Arthur with a civic address of 243 and 245 Smith Drive to provide the following relief. One, that a reduced minimum front yard minimum landscape area of 35% be permitted for each of the semi-detached dwelling units, whereas the bylaw requires 50%. And two, that one permanent parking spot be permitted in the front of the wall of each of the semi-detached dwelling units, provided it is not within the front yard setback to facilitate an additional dwelling unit. All in favor? Opposed?
So that's denied.
Okay,
That is denied.
so what's the next step for the applicant now?
Jessica?
Sorry, Jessica, what's the next step for the applicant then?
For the applicant, they have the opportunity to appeal the application.
Okay. Did you hear that, Shane?
Yes, I did. Yeah, we'll be doing that.
Okay. All right, moving on. We are at A1323 Pinestone Construction, Inc. The location of the subject property is described as lot 12, RP61M-255, geographic town of Arthur, with a civic address of 185 and 187 Smith Drive. The subject land is approximately 0.08 hectares in size. The location of the property is shown on the map attached. And the purpose and effect of this application is to provide relief from the minimum front yard landscape area requirements and to permit a permanent parking spot to be located in the front of the wall of the main dwelling within the driveway. The applicants are proposing to construct an additional dwelling unit, ADU, in each semi-detached unit on the lot. The subject property is zoned residential R2, which permits a semi-detached dwelling and one attached ADU per lot. Other variances may, be considered where deemed appropriate. And how was notice given?
Notices were mailed to property within 60 meters of the subject property and as well to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 20th, 2023.
All right, thank you. Jessica, it's over to you.
Thank you. So again, similar application to the one before. So this is application A13/23, which is requesting relief for lots located at 185 and 187 Schmidt Drive in Arthur. The subject lands are designated residential and zoned R2. The applicants are proposing to construct a new semi-detached dwelling with an ADU and requesting relief from the minimum landscaped area from 50% to 35 is what they're proposing. The ADU, which is attached from one in each unit, so relief of one, and location of parking again to be located in the front wall of the main dwelling, where this semi-detached is again set back from the road, so it does allow for the 12-meter driveway, and planning staff have no concerns as the application meets the 4 test, and I welcome any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. Has any correspondence been received?
Nothing that isn't listed on the agenda.
All right, any persons wishing to be notified of this decision must, submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer. Are there any members of the public or the applicant that wish to speak to this? I'm not sure, Shane, if your hand's up from the last time or you want to speak to this one again.
Yeah, I will speak on this one again. Sorry, so guess what I'm trying to see here is, so we're worried about a little bit of snow in the front yards of these places. And that's what's turning us away from having more places for people to live in this here. Like I thought we were kind of trying to get, more available places for people to live, but it just seems like we're stuck on the snow in the front yard here. I feel like I've kind of went ahead and got enough parking in these units here, not to have everybody parked on the street blocking snow plows, emergency vehicles, garbage disposal, recycling, etc. I'm kind of just stuck on what our thoughts are on that there. If somebody wants to chime in there on that.
Councillor Burke, I saw your hand up there.
Yeah, so my concern is not just the snow. My concern is the that we're packing people in. They need space. We see minor variances all the time, requests, and I just don't believe that these are necessarily minor in nature. We also have to be consider not just the snow maintenance portion of it, but also to make sure that sight lines, when there's so much density in the areas. So I guess my question would be to the developer, can we not look at what the proposal is and try to make the reductions less than what's being asked for, or work within the parcel that you have?
All right, thank you. Back to you, Shane.
Sure. Yeah. No. We're just kind of put it out there so that we could technically fit 4 vehicles in the driveway. That's kind of why we needed that extra driveway space there. 4 vehicles in the driveway and 1 in the garage. And I've just, from everybody I've heard, just keeping the vehicles off the road is what the main concern of the township has been forever, really. And I can see it on Wall Street, even Wall Street. There's people on the roads, like the driveways just aren't big enough. And I went ahead and tried to make this more appealing to everybody by having vehicles be able to park in the driveway, kind of thing. People are more concerned about parking than front yard, I personally think, but.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm gonna ask, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
Chair McCabe. So you're gonna push on with the requests that are outlined here. Is that what I'm hearing, Shane?
I might have missed that. Sorry, you guys just cut out there.
Okay, so my question is, this next one we're looking at is for 35%, where you need 50%. Is there any consideration on your part to increase the percentage closer to the ask?
If we could have, we would have. Just with the size of the semi lots, and it's definitely a lot harder to fit vehicles side by side if we try to stick with the ask of 50%. And also, we cannot get a garage big enough in a semi to have the 2 vehicle parking as required on an ADU. Or a vehicle parked on the side of the house, it's just not possible with a semi-detached. So I would love to say we would love to be able to have the 50%, but I can't. Any way we look at it, we can't really have it. And I'm just trying to build these to be more appealing to somebody coming in and needing a mortgage helper in the basement of a semi. So a first-time home buyer buys this and has a mortgage helper, somebody living in the basement, and they're not spending over $1 million to get into it, right? That's all I'm kind of looking for. As you know, that is probably appealing to most people nowadays, is having that extra income in the basement to help out with a mortgage under $1 million. And you can get that with these semis, right? You can get these semis for under $1 million. So that's all I'm kind of looking for. And for somebody to come in and want a basement apartment on the single detached where you can actually achieve the 50% lot coverage on the driveway, most people can't get in to those and have the basement apartment because it's over $1 million, right? So I'm just more appealing to the first time home buyer that wants somebody moving into their basement here. That's all.
Right, and I know housing is important, and first time home buyers are having a struggle to get into housing. We have I don't know how you would put this, but we have a suggestion from staff that maybe we defer this one so that we can go back and work with you guys. Public Works can work with the developer like you, Shane, and then maybe come back in the future with maybe an amended plan or an updated plan.
Yeah, we could definitely do something like that.
So what you would do is you would read.
So I'll read this
the
part.
Decision and ask for it to be deferred,
Yep.
and then if it's a tie vote, that's defeated, and it's defeated.
Okay. So we're going to do this one by one. So we'll probably need to maybe defer the rest of these, but we'll have to go through that one by one with each application. So one last time, I should probably ask for that again.
Yeah.
So we'll ask if any member of the council has any other questions on this application specifically. Yep, go ahead, Penny.
Thank you. I was sort of harping again, but I understand and I appreciate the fact that you're trying to put in more housing as per the provincial mandate. But a lot of our people coming into Mount Forest are coming in to look at a rural area. And when they're put into positions where the lots have been reduced in size for their outside enjoyment, then they may not be coming into any place different than what they came from. So that's why I would like to see as much of the land outside the house that they could possibly use. I do appreciate your point that the first-time home buyer, but unless you somehow could reduce the size of the house to increase the outside of the lot. But I'm sorry, it's just I just don't like to see the variances that are there. Sorry.
All right, thank you for that. And we have a member of the public, if you could come up to the mic here. State your name, please.
I'm also the developer of the Smith Drive site. So just a quick point. I'm also one of the applicants to the 207 number company. We talked about green space. These lots are run back about 125 to 135 deep. Compared to most developers nowadays, 100 to 110. There's lots of green space and probably more than most. So yes, we lose a bit of side yard, but the back part makes up for. And we also have 5 acres of parkland on the north side of the site that we're working on, which is just down the street from here, which is more parkland than probably any site we have currently going around. So I don't think green space is a real issue here. It's more the snow issue. I don't think, based on past experience, there's lots of small townhome sites nowadays that are seeing less I guess, no space in what we're doing here. So I think our plan worked. And what Jane's trying to do is, trying to be upfront and forward to do a creative plan that works for everyone. And, yeah, that's my comment.
Right. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry if I, oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Shane. Sorry, I don't know if your
Nope.
hand's up or down, so go ahead.
If I could just chime in for a second, thanks for that, Jim, too. Just to mention too, that the 50% of lot coverage only gives you a 4.75 meter driveway in width. And that just is nowhere near wide enough for 2 vehicles. That's when you get people parking on the lawns and you get people kind of disobeying the fact that, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and park on the lawn anyway. And personally, I'm just trying to get ahead of that and not have people cutting curbs on their own and putting in driveways and ugly, anyway, parking on the lawn doesn't look very good in my opinion. So I would rather just pave it personally and have it set, but yeah, that's all I kind of had.
All right, thanks, Shane. Counselor Hearn?
Yes, ADUs are something, this type of gentle intensification, ADUs are something that I really do strongly support in a smaller community like this. We talk about the rural fabric and the rural community, and one of the ways to preserve that rural fabric is to help maintain our boundary and to make it more gentle. So we're not talking about high rises, we're talking about essentially basement apartments or whatever located within this unit. So I do appreciate the developer being proactive versus reactive by finding these these residents in these homes a place to park. As someone who many years ago did live in a basement apartment, and many of us did, and I parked on the street all the time. And anyways, I appreciate that. And we really do need to address the missing middle and help maintain our rural fabric and provide housing and provide cost-effective housing. And I think this is one of the approaches that we need to follow. And yes, the lots, as Jim stated, are much, much deeper than a lot of other lots that are already out there. So the green space is there.
Thank you for that. And yeah, you made a good point about not using up more rural land than is needed, and having an ADU would certainly help. If no one else has anything. Oh, sorry, Sherry. I didn't see you there.
That's okay. Thank you, Chair McCabe. So I do want to see more development, and I can appreciate the type of housing that is being proposed here. I think that we need to work through reviewing the development. As staff has suggested, if the lots are so deep, why can't this be pushed back so that the parking is stacked as opposed to side by side?
I guess I could chime in. We actually did push it back that 12 meters instead of we usually do 8 meters where there's a sidewalk and 7 meters where there isn't. So we actually did move it back another 6 meters to accommodate the extra parking as well, which is still, I do think, still necessary for it'll be 4 vehicles will be able to park each semi-unit.
Darren, I noticed you were thanks for that, Shane. Go ahead, Darren.
That's right, Councilor McCabe. I was just going to say what Shane said, that the proposal is double the front yard setback, which allows tandem parking. A single car driveway and tandem parking would meet the bylaw. The township would be able to issue a building permit for the additional dwelling unit. With that reduction, the extra request is for the reduction in landscape area to make a double wide driveway. So you could fit 4 cars plus 1 in the garage as opposed to the 3.
Yeah, so double wide, not double length then.
Both.
Oh, okay, both. Sorry. Okay.
Right, and I guess to just chiming in again here, sorry, with the stacked parking comment, just on that, with rental units, that just typically doesn't work as well as it sounds. You're bugging your tenant to come out and move the car. And I mean, if we can just keep it where the basement's on the right side, the upper's on the left side, you're never really bugging the tenant. Could get into a game of Tetris trying to get vehicles out of there, which typically just doesn't work.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions from council? Go ahead, Penny.
Yeah. I just have a concern with the density in general, not just this specific project. It's the municipal services. Are they going to be able to keep up with all the increase in the number of houses and people and so forth? So that's a question right across the board, not just for this specific project.
Go ahead, Brooke.
Through you, Chair McCabe, to Councillor Rankin. I think your concerns are common and probably shared by a lot in the community. And that is one of the pieces that we are working through in the growth management update. We have seen an increased rate of growth in some of the urban areas of our communities, but there is a balance between increasing that density and as Councillor Hearn mentioned, protecting the countryside. And so there's ways to do that responsibly. And I think that that is the intent of the township and what we've heard from council. There are new issues that are going to arise as we get more dense in our urban areas. I think the spillover parking concern that the developer is trying to be proactive on is a real one. I don't think we've seen the extent to which that can become a problem. And by accommodating cars on site, especially for in the driveway, that's actually really a very helpful thing for these types of units. So I do support the idea that we may speak with the developer again and look at some of the concerns related to snow clearing and others for these potential applications if council agrees. And I think that the points that you make are something that we're going to have to consider in our growth management update about all those types of concerns. And the servicing is certainly one. Can we support the growth? We want to do this in a sustained and logical way, and make sure that when these applications come, council feels that we've kind of covered off the basics. But this is the direction that communities are going to be going into. So I think it's really important for us to be proactive about some of these issues, because as they mentioned, the developer could go ahead with the development as it is. It's just that it won't accommodate the parking. And so is that a better option than what they're suggesting? I think is something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, go ahead, Penny.
Sorry, I just have one more question. Well, just while you were speaking, I was just thinking, how many bedrooms are there going to be in the ADU? Are they looking at having 2 families with children being able to be accommodated? Or are you looking at, say, 2 adults only? I'm just thinking of the numbers.
Through Chair McCabe, I think the market really determines who's living in those units, and if there's 1 bedroom, that might be appropriate for a single person, or maybe a retired couple, or the grandparents of the family that's living above. So I don't think you can really say who's going to live in those units, but I think the different types of options that are made available for families at different price points is really what's going to be provided there. And having that combination is something that isn't often offered. So you want to look at, people are going to make choices based on their own needs. And that's something that we can provide for.
Sorry, I was just thinking maybe I could ask Mr. Coffey this question. Are the ADUs, are they going to be having 2 bedrooms? Or will there be 2 bedrooms in the original unit and then another 2 bedrooms in all of the units that you're proposing now?
I'm going to speak stop because I'm under construction right now, as Darren knows. So my basement units will be 1 bedroom units.
Thank you.
Yeah, so and the basements that we're proposing, they have 2 and we're kind of targeting towards a mother and a father and a with a single child or, and then also two bedrooms, one bathroom in the basement.
Thank you for that, Shane, and thanks, Mr. Coffey. The pressure to house people and the pressure of being able to afford a home or a new home or rent a place is something that is just going to keep ratcheting up. I think by pushing the housing back already and trying to accommodate more parking, I think is pretty key. And I think we're probably going to see more of this kind of stuff in the future. And I kind of hope we do. And then being able to accommodate first-time homeowners and rental units, and keeping the cars off the street, especially during the winter when there is snow. Again, I think it's a good marriage of what is proposed here and what the township can keep up with. But having said that, if there's no more questions, I am going to. Sorry, yeah, I was just gonna say I was gonna let Karen have a quick chat here.
I just want to explain the procedure. So the chair is going to read the motion that it be deferred. If it is a tie vote, then it's lost. The deferral is lost. You're still going to have to make a decision. Then you will either have to approve it or deny it. I'm not sure if at this point, if the applicant could just make a request from right now for council to not consider this at all, and direct it back to staff and perhaps the A14, and perhaps, I mean, that's up to the applicant. But they're pretty much the same. If the applicant wants to request that council just not consider any specific ones in front of them, that would be an option as well. But council can't go back now and make a redecision on the first one. That can be appealed or, whatever the process is. So I just want everybody to be clear what will happen.
Everyone clear on that? All right, I will read. Okay, Shane, this is your opportunity to ask that we not talk about these at all, and you and staff will work together and come back to council on a different date with the remaining applications that we have before us that have not been voted on yet. And like Karen said, the first one was defeated, so that it's up to you what you want to do with that one. But how would you like to proceed with the rest of these?
Yeah, I guess these two were the only ones that had the ADU with the semi apartment in the basement, or sorry, the semi with the ADU. The other ones are a little bit different. And I guess Jim Coffey, actually, he has one in there as well for lot 14. I think that one's coming up next. Yeah, so we would just work together with the township on these then, or I'm just not sure. Do I have to go and do we have to do another council meeting on this, or how do we want to?
If you're asking them not to consider A13, and would that also be A14?
I'm just looking here, which one, so A13.
That's 180 and 182 Smith Drive.
That's the
180 and 182.
34.1%. Oh, I'm sorry.
That one's yours, Jim?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Right, okay.
So yeah, so that would be A13 and A14. You would just make a request.
A14 is Jim's.
Oh, sorry.
I think A15.
It hasn't changed by Councilor Rankin or Councilor Bird. I guess you better withdraw that, correct?
That's kind of what we're aiming for.
Well, or a deferral, like council could make a decision to defer, but if it's a tie vote, then they've got to go on and make a decision to approve or deny.
Unless the councilor's opinion has changed in hearing the recent comments.
Right.
So Shane, you're up first. That would be A13.
Right. So like Jim said, unless Sherry and Penny have at all changed their mind in this?
I'm seeing their heads shaking no. Lisa,
I'm
were
guessing
you gonna
not.
say something? Oh, sorry.
Okay. I guess we gotta do what we gotta do then.
I was just gonna say, I
I
think we
guess so,
probably,
yeah.
But as a final comment, I make, if any of the councilors want to come down to our site,
sorry.
Otherwise, it can't, it doesn't get
No problem.
recorded.
if any of the councilors want to come down to the site someday and meet myself and Shane, I have mine under construction, we will show you side yards, backyards, what we're showing. It's kind of hard on your setbacks to get the meters and percentages until you see it in person, so we'd be more than happy to meet with anyone and kind of case might help cause for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Thanks for that, Jim.
So,
Clarify with Shane that he wants
So
to-
can I just get clarification? Because I had a hard time hearing Jim. He wants to know if we are prepared to change our mind on what's being presented or what could be presented in the future. If they're just gonna come back with the same thing?
I think that's what they might want to withdraw and then talk to staff and maybe come back with a updated or amended plan.
I'm
for
okay with
these.
that.
Then we could vote, then you could vote on a deferral if that.
Mhm.
So A13 is the one that we're talking about right now, and we can defer it back to staff so that they can work with Shane and Jim.
Are you asking for a vote?
Well, I've got to read this first and then
Okay, sorry.
we'll go from there. And then I guess we'll do it one by one.
Well, then you're gonna have to go through the process, or Jim at the beginning of the next one can just ask for the meeting to be, and you don't even have to get to this point of reading it.
Yeah, if they
But
withdraw.
that'll be the next one.
Yeah,
right
A14 is next and then Shane's back up again with
It's
A15.
sounding to me like the deferral will pass though, so that he doesn't have to ask you to pull it. It will be deferred pending further discussion with staff.
Okay. Oh, we'll see how it
I
goes.
know.
All right. That the minor, I'm going to call this into question, that the minor variance applied for application A1323 for the property described as part 3 and 4, reference plan 61R22549, Village of Arthur, with a civic address of 185 and 187 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief. 1, that a reduced front yard landscape area of 35% be permitted for each of the semi-detached dwellings, whereas the bylaw requires 50%. 2, that 1 permanent parking space be permitted in the front wall of each semi-detached dwelling unit, provided it is not within the front yard setback, to facilitate an additional dwelling unit as is attached. So I'm asking for that to be deferred. All in favor? Great, thank you.
Shane, that was deferred. That was passed.
Okay. Thank
The
you.
deferral was passed.
The
Yeah.
deferral was passed. Yes, yes.
Just want to, not trying to trick anyone here. All right, on to A1423, 2073022 Ontario Inc. The location of the subject property is described as Lot 14 RP 61M-255, geographic town of Arthur, with a civic address of 180 and 182 Smith Drive. The subject land is approximately 0.07 acres in size. The location of the property is shown on the map attached. The purpose and effect of this application is to provide relief from the front yard landscape area requirements and to permit a permanent parking space to be located in the front wall of the main dwelling. The applicants are proposing to construct an additional dwelling unit, ADU, in each semi-detached unit on the lot. The subject property is zoned residential R2, which permits a semi-detached dwelling and 1 ADU per lot. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. And how was notice given?
Notices were mailed to property owners within 60 meters and to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 20th, 2023.
Jessica, do you want to present on this, please?
Okay, thank you. So the application A14/23, which is requesting relief for the lots located at 180 and 182 Schmidt Drive in Arthur. The subject lands are designated residential and zoned R2. The applicants are proposing to construct the ADU within the semi-detached dwelling on the lot. The following relief is required for reduced front yard landscape of 34.1%, as the required is 50%. An additional dwelling unit in each lot, and that the parking be located in the front wall of the main dwelling. And again, it's pushed back, so planning staff do not have concerns with this application, as we believe it meets the 4 tests.
All right, thank you. Has any correspondence been received?
No further correspondence other than what's listed on in the agenda.
Persons wishing to be notified of this decision must submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer. And with that, any members of the public or the applicant wish to speak to this? And is there anyone on Zoom? I guess Shane is, so. Shane, this is once again your time to, oh, sorry, this is Jim. God. Oh, my, sorry. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Jim. Anyone on Zoom registered to speak on this?
No, there's not.
Okay, the applicant, you're good with what you've said before, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. Any member of council have any questions? So can we do the same thing again and then just, okay, all right. So the minor variance applied for in application A1423 for the property described as part 47 and 48, reference plan 61R22549, Village of Arthur, with a civic address of 180 and 182 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief. That a reduced front yard landscape area of 34.1% be permitted for each of the semi-detached dwelling units, whereas the bylaw requires 50%. That one permanent parking space be permitted in the front of the wall of each of the semi-detached units, provided it is not within the front yard setback, to facilitate an additional dwelling unit. And once again, I'm going to ask for a deferral on this. All in favor? Great, thank you. So Jim, that was deferred. It's on to the next one then, right?
15.
Yeah, all right. So I have the following application in front of me. The minor variance applied for in application A1523 for the property described as lot 18 RP 61M-255, geographic town of Arthur, with a civic address of 198 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief. That a reduced width of 5.4 meters, 17.58 feet, be permitted for an existing private garage to allow for an additional permanent parking space for an additional residential unit, ADU, attached, whereas the bylaw requires 6 meters or 19.6 feet. Yeah, that's that one, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, right. Okay. So how was notice given?
Notices were mailed to property owners within 60 meters of the property, and as well to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 20th, 2023.
Okay. Jessica?
Thank you. So the application A15/23 is requesting relief for lots located at 198 Schmidt Drive in Arthur. The subject lands are designated residential and zoned R2. The applicants are proposing to construct the ADU within the existing single detached dwelling on the lot. And they're requesting relief for the location of the parking space to be located in the front wall of the main building. So within the driveway. Planning staff did have some concerns with the parking space being located within the required front yard. So the dwelling is only set back 8.49 meters. Whereas the required front yard setback for an R2 zone is 6 meters or 19.7 feet. The applicants should consider the relief to the private garage parking width and have the 2 permanent parking spaces be located within the garage. This allows the driveway to remain as the temporary parking space as permitted within the zoning bylaw. So if council has any questions, I'm here for this.
So this is 15.
Yep.
This is 15.
Yes. Any correspondence been received for this?
Nothing other than what's this on the agenda.
All right, persons wishing to be notified of the decision must submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer. Any member of the public or applicant wish to speak to this? Do we have anyone registered on Zoom?
No, we do not.
Okay. Everyone's good. Now, in this one, we might want to have a vote on this because it is literally 2 feet of difference. Not perhaps is like the last couple of ones that have been deferred, but I will open the floor to council for any questions. Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, so we just heard from Jessica that the county does have concerns. So how are we going to address that? I realize that it's only about 2 feet, but the county has concerns with the design.
Go ahead, Jessica.
So through you, Chair, that's just our recommendation from staff is that it would be parking within the required front yard. I did provide a different option for the applicants and for council to consider, which was requesting relief to the private garage width. So the required is 6 meters. Their existing garage that's already there is 5.4 meters. So it would be relief of the 0.6 meters there. So that's a different option that the committee could look at today. And again, it is up to the committee's decision on what they choose to approve or deny.
All right, thank you, Jessica. Go ahead, Darren.
Through you, Councillor McCabe. Through Jessica's report, there was a recommendation to consider the garage as opposed to parking in the driveway. And I discussed, staff discussed that with the applicant, and that is the proposal in front of council right now is the reduction in the garage per the planner's report.
So we've already worked with the applicant to adjust to county's concerns.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Sherry, does that answer your question then?
Yes. That wasn't clear with the way it was written. So yes.
Okay, so just to be sure that's what is on the table. Everyone understand that part of it? Okay. All right. Well, see how this one goes. Anyone else have any other questions from council? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Chair McCabe. I was just wondering if we go with the idea of having the garage, which is going to be widened, how much land would there be between the garage and the property line?
Go ahead, Darren.
This is for a building that's already built. So the garage will remain as is and will meet the zoning bylaw setbacks. The reduction is for width of parking space. So to allow a narrower parking space within the garage to allow 2 vehicles.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Councillor Rankin. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay. I have the application in front of me that the minor variance applied for an application A1523 for the property described as lot 18 RP 61M-255 geographic town of Arthur with a civic address of 198 Smith Drive to provide the following relief. That a reduced width of 5.4 meters, 17.58 feet be permitted for an existing, private garage to allow for an additional permanent parking space for an additional residential unit as attached. Whereas the bylaw requires 6 meters or 19.6 feet. All in favor? That is passed. Thank you. Moving right along, we're on to application A1623, Pinestone Construction, Inc. The location of the subject property is described as lot 14 RP 61 M-255 geographic town of Arthur with a civic address of 207, 209, 211, and 213 Smith Drive. The subject land is approximately 0.0 hectares in size. The location of the property is on the map attached in your agenda. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief from the minimum front yard landscape area requirements. The subject is zoned R2 residential, which permits a street townhouse. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. And how was notice given?
Notices were mailed to property owners within 60 meters of the subject property and as well to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 20th, 2023.
Thank you. Jessica, I'll look to you for your
Thank you. So application A16/23, which is requesting relief for the lots located at 207, 209, 211, and 213 Smith Drive in Arthur. The subject lands are designated residential and zoned R2. The applicants are requesting relief for the minimum landscaped area for the existing 4-unit street townhouse. So planning staff have concerns with the reduced landscape area for the middle lots, that's units 2 and 3, where they're requesting 26.8% landscaped area as opposed to the required 50%. And planning staff recommendation would be to have the proposed driveway be reduced to the same width as the existing garage. This will accommodate additional snow storage in these middle units. And if the committee chooses to approve the application as requested, then they should be satisfied that it meets the 4 tests. And I am happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Thanks, Dennis. Jessica. Any correspondence received that isn't on the agenda?
No.
All right. Persons wishing to be notified of the decision must submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer. I will ask the member of public or the applicant if you would wish to speak to this application.
Just if I could say a couple of things, I guess. So, the township was okay with the outside units, but the insides, we had just a bit of, concern with how wide. Is that what I heard correctly? Sorry.
Yes, that's correct. The 40.5%, which was the end units 1 and 4, we were okay with. Just the middle units, the 26.8%.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else? Excuse me.
You want to put this vote in instead?
Your microphone's still on, Shane. Will he be able to unmute if he
You'll have
needs
to
to?
unmute. Shane, you'll have to unmute yourself if you want to speak again.
Okay. Anyone else registered on Zoom to speak?
No, there is not.
Okay, we already heard from the applicant. Any questions from council? Seeing none, sorry, go ahead, Penny.
Sorry, I'd just like clarification then on what we would be voting for, because county has a concern with the middle 2 residences. Are we voting for a package of doing it reduction for all 4 or just for the 2?
So it's separated out into 213 and 207 Smith Drive for the 40.5%. And then, 211 and 209 Smith Drive for the 26.8. So those are 2 separate items that we're going to vote on. But I might suggest that we might defer this one as well so that the applicant can work with staff again. The percentages that were turned down at this council were about the same. So I'm going to read the application and then know that we have the ability to defer this again like we did on the other 2. So that the minor variance applied for in application A16 23 for the property described as parts 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Reference plan 61R 22549, Village of Arthur, with a civic address of 207, 209, 211, and 213 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief. And this is the first one. I'll go through the next one after this. That a reduced front yard landscape area of 40.5% be permitted for unit 1 and 4, and that is 213 and 207 Smith Drive, whereas the bylaw requires 50%. I'm all right for deferring this, and that's any other questions from council on this specific one? Right, all in favor of deferring it? Right, thank you. So that has passed. That the minor variance applied for in application A1623 for the property described as parts 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, reference plan 61R 22549, Village of Arthur, with a civic address of 207, 209, 211, and 213 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief. That a reduced front yard landscape area of 26.8 be permitted for units 2 and 3, which are 211 and 209 Smith Drive, whereas the bylaw requires 50%. So again, I'm going to, what we're voting on here is to defer this one as well. Any other questions from council? All in favor of deferring? Great, thank you. That has passed as well. On to the next one. A17, Pinestone Construction, Inc. The location of the subject property is described as Lot 14 RP 61M-255, geographic town of Arthur, with a civic address of 217, 219, 221, and 223 Smith Drive. The subject land is approximately 0.07 acres in size. The location of the property is shown on the map attached. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief from the minimum front yard landscape area requirements. The subject property is zoned residential R2, which permits a street townhouse. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. And how was notice given?
Notices were mailed out to adjoining property owners residing 60 meters from the subject property and to applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 20th, 2023.
All right, thank you. Jessica, you present this application.
So thank you. So application A17/23. These lots are designated residential and zoned R2. The applicants are requesting relief for the minimum landscaped area for the existing 4-unit street townhouse. So again, the units 1 and 4, which is the N units, they're requesting for relief. The required is 50%. They're proposing 40.5% landscaped area. And the middle units 2 and 3, they're requesting for 26.8% landscaped area, where the required is 50%. So planning staff have concerns with the reduced landscaped area for the middle units and would recommend the proposed driveway be reduced to the same width as the existing garage in order to accommodate more snow storage area on the middle units. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, sorry, thank you for that, Jessica. Any correspondence received that isn't on the agenda?
No, it hasn't been.
All right, persons wishing to be notified of the decision must submit a written request to the Secretary Treasurer. I'll open the floor to the public or the applicant that wish to speak on this application. Jane, this would be up to you if you would like to speak to this application.
Sure, yeah, no, like I was trying to say there before, so I guess what we were just trying to achieve here is there is a few couples that have moved in to a townhouse so far, and just at the requested what we're able to do for the driveway width, you just cannot fit any vehicles in there. So just kind of keep circling back to the trying to get vehicles off the road. As the driveways are requested, you are able to fit 4 vehicles in, and I know that because the townhouse that somebody just moved into was able to. They're not paved yet. They're just gravel. So obviously we're waiting on the decision here. So, yeah, just with more people, older kids living at home now, we just found that there is, families have a minimum of 4 vehicles in the household, and just, yeah, like we were talking before, just cleaning up the streets with vehicles, basically.
Okay, thank you, Shane. Anyone registered on Zoom other than Shane?
No.
Okay, and he just spoke. I will open the floor to council. Any questions on this application? Seeing none, I'm going to suggest we do the same thing for this one that we just did with the last one. So I will break this up and ask for this one to be deferred, and then I'll reread the second one and we'll ask for that to be deferred as well. So for this application, the minor variance applied in application A17-23 for the property described as part 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, reference plan 61R22549, Village of Arthur, with a civic address of 217, 219, 221, and 223 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief: that a reduced front yard landscape area of 40.5% be permitted for unit 1 and 4, which is 223 and 217 Smith Drive, where the bylaw requires 50%. So again, I'm asking for deference on this one. Any other questions from council? All in favor? Great, thank you. That is deferred. And that minor variance applied for in application A16-23 for the property described as part 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, reference plan 61R22549, Village of Arthur, with a civic address of 207, 209, 211, and 213 Smith Drive, to provide the following relief: that a reduced front yard landscape area of 26.8% be permitted for units 2 and 3, which are 221 and 219 Smith Drive, whereas the bylaw requires 50%. And again, this is voting for this to be deferred. All in favor? Great, thank you. That is also deferred.
Okay.
That's the end of that one. I have a motion here that the Committee of Adjustment meeting for November 6th, 2023 be adjourned at 3:49 p.m. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Hearn, seconded by Councillor Rankin. Any questions or concerns? All right, all in favor? Thank you. We are adjourned. So now we're going to move into our public meeting, and I'll call that meeting to order at 3:49 p.m. And I'll ask Councillor Burke, do you have any pecuniary interest?
I do not.
Councillor Rankin?
No.
Councillor Hearn?
No.
Thank you. I do not either. The owner applicant in this is 9407949 Ontario Limited. The subject land to the land subject to the proposed amendment is described as all of lots A 9-11 on Judge McDonald's survey, all of lots 23 to 33, lots 35 to 55, lots 71 to 81, and lots 85 to 109 on Chadwick and Anderson survey. Parts of lots 19, 21, 34, 69, 70, and 84 on Chadwick and Anderson survey, part of lot 1, concession 2, West Luther, with a civic address of 210 Gordon Street, Arthur. The subject property is approximately 9.818 hectares in size, and the location is shown on the map attached. The purpose and effect of the proposed amendment is to rezone the subject lands to facilitate a residential land lease community with 51 single detached dwellings, 12 townhouses, 12 townhouse units, and an accessory uses, including outdoor recreational vehicle storage, community gardens, recreation uses, greenhouses and solar panels, and a stormwater management pond. The application is specifically proposing to rezone the land from future development FD and industrial site specific M1-2 to residential site specific R1C and R3 and industrial site specific M1. Any relief may be considered at this meeting. And I was notice given.
Notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property and to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on October 17th, 2023.
Thank you. Jessica, over to you again.
Thank you. So today's statutory public meeting for application ZBA 20/23 is for the lands located at 210 Gordon Street in Arthur. Today we'll provide the opportunity for council, the community and area residents to ask questions and seek more information from the applicant. The applicant is here today, and he's prepared a presentation. So I will just try and do a quick overview of my report. So the subject lands are designated residential and industrial and zoned future development and an industrial site specific. The applicants are proposing to rezone the subject lands to facilitate a residential land lease community with 51 single detached dwellings, 12 townhouse units and accessory uses, including outdoor recreational vehicle storage, community gardens, recreation uses, greenhouses, solar panels, and a stormwater management pond. So my report has provided information related to the subject property for the PPS, the growth plan, the county official plan, and the Wellington North community growth plans related to this application. With the subject lands having a split designation and zoning due to the unique location to the sewage lagoons within Arthur, the applicants have prepared a site design where the proposed residential uses or sensitive land uses will remain within the residential designation on the subject lands and will be set back 100 meters from the lot line of the sewage lagoon property adjacent. And any accessory uses are proposed to be within that industrial designation on the land that aren't considered sensitive land uses. The applicants have prepared a number of technical reports and studies in support of the application that were also indicated in my report, including the D-series setback assessment to the sewage treatment plants, which further supports the 100-meter setback from the sensitive land uses on the lot. I've also attached the draft zoning bylaw prepared by the applicants to my report for your review. And then following this meeting, staff will consider any comments and prepare a final recommendation report and a draft zoning bylaw for council's consideration. So I will leave the rest of the presentation up to the applicant.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Are there any other correspondence that was received but not listed on our agendas?
Yes, Wellington North Power made a submission advising the electrical distribution systems must meet their standards and the applicants to contact them for a copy of that. Electrical plans must be reviewed and approved by Wellington North Power, and the applicant is required to enter into a construction agreement with Wellington North Power.
Okay. The bylaw will be considered at a future meeting of council. Persons wishing to be notified of the decision must submit a written request. And now I'm going to open the floor up to the public or the applicant that wishes to speak. Yeah. Welcome, Steve.
Is the green light still on? I just turned it off.
Thank you, Chair McCabe, members of council. My name is Steve Weaver and I'm a speaker representing Jim Coffey, the owner of the property for Harvest View Estates. I did prepare a brief slide package just to give you some graphics to better orient you to the proposal. Does everybody have a copy of that?
I think it's all in our packages, I think. I've seen it before anyways, but. Do you have do we have it here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kathy, can you email it? Can you pull it up and share your screen? Where was it?
It's okay.
It's been a long day.
We're not even at the regular meeting yet. Is it under Harvest View by any chance? Excuse me. Oh, Darren's got it pulled up.
Thank you.
Yep.
Scroll down to the third slide there. So you can see the air photo of the property on this slide. It's just outlined in red.
Council meetings.
And you can see those dark polygons to the east of the site. Those are the holding ponds that staff referred to in their report. I'm sure you're familiar with their function. Just to emphasize, it is treated water in the pond. It's not sewage. There is some previous precedent to the setback that's been applied here. So to the south, there is an existing subdivision zone. You can see is underway on the airport, and the same setback under meters is applied from the south edge of the pond. The site itself is relatively flat. It does have a smaller pond unrelated to the holding ponds. It's just a recreational pond. You can see it in the northeast corner, that long rectangle. Along the westerly edge of the property, there is an unopened municipal road allowance, Anderson Avenue, part of the water plant survey. And then to the north, there is a existing gravel driveway and community trail or walkway. And that is proposed to allow a secondary point of emergency access should that ever be in the future. I understand that is municipally owned. And then to the south, there are some existing homes, and to the west as well. One of the advantages of this site is in an area of existing residential development and is very close to the existing community center, recreation center, and existing school to the west. If you can pause on the photos there, Darren, if you look at the photo in the top left, this is looking from the north end of the site southerly, so you can see the recreational pond and the holding ponds on the left side of the image, and then the bulk of the site. The brown area more or less identifies the area that would be proposed for housing, and then the lighter shaded area would be the area that's for common outdoor open space use. And we represent 100 meter setback area. And then in the bottom left image, again, you're looking from the north to the southwest. In the top right, you're looking from the south in the northerly direction. You can see there's an existing dwelling there at the south edge. And then in the bottom right image, you can see Eliza Street and the existing homes in the foreground. In that image, you're looking easterly from the west side of the site. So it's always helpful to have these drone photos that are a bit of an overview of context. And then the next slide there. You can see its position in the overall community. So in the northeast quadrant of Arthur. I mentioned the recreational uses to the west, the holding ponds to the east, and that there are existing and establishing new residential neighborhoods to the south, and the walking trail to the north, and of course, the edge of the Sullivan area for some agricultural uses further beyond to the north. The overall concept for the development is to create an adult, mature adult-oriented community with offerings of one-story living in a different ownership context. So land lease is, although a new concept to community of Arthur, it is something that is gaining popularity throughout the province, and there are a number of examples of land lease communities throughout the town. The province has been promoting land lease and has recently amended the Planning Act in the past year
to extend the length of lease term that would be provided. Basically, what it allows is for a more or less traditional subdivision or condominium style development to be created without the need to create separate ownership parcels. It's much like a mobile home park, but all homes are permanent. And the ownership is of the dwelling. So you build equity in the dwelling, you can have a mortgage on the dwelling and so forth, but you're leasing the piece of the land that it sits on. And so the property remains under one common ownership. And the owners each own their individual dwelling, and are given shared services, kind of like a condominium, but without, traditional condominium fees or condominium board or that kind of thing. The benefit of that is it can really reduce some of the cost, because you don't have to buy the land. There is still a lease cost for the land, but it allows the overall price point to come down at the first step when you purchase. The mix of dwellings that are proposed here would include 51 single detached dwellings and 12 townhouse units at the central of the development. And then the other concept, in addition to the land lease that is proposed here, is what's referred to as an agriculture, which is kind of a blend of the word agriculture and neighborhood. And it's a concept that's emerged from the US, where a number of rural communities and agriculturally focused communities, it really brings the concept of a farm into the community. And so this is about sustainability, creating opportunities to grow food on the property. It doesn't involve livestock or intensive agriculture, of course, but sustainable levels of gardening, gathering spaces, recreational spaces, areas that can be used in common for storage, and favorite options in parking. So it gives you that combination of the convenience of having a smaller home on one level living with some services provided to you, but then also the openness of larger open spaces that are shared in common. So the overall concept, and this isn't what you're being asked, to approve. We're only here to talk about the zoning tonight. It looks kind of like a subdivision plan, but would actually take the form of a site plan application under section 41. And what that means again is that you wouldn't be creating individual lots or dividing the property into multiple different ownerships. It would be one function as one site, all privately owned, with individual dwellings owned by separate owners on these things. The internal roadway would come in off of Draper Street. Draper Street is currently an open road allowance way. Because Draper Street come in at the west edge of the development into private road, there would be the requirement in discussion with staff for a turnaround there, so that any emergency or snow maintenance vehicles wouldn't be required to use the private road within the development for the purposes of turning around and exiting the area. So that's accommodated on the plan. And then internally, all of the roads and services that we see there, they would be privately maintained. So one of the other benefits of this style of development is the municipality gets the benefit of more homes, more assessment, sustainable living environment, housing for older adults, but doesn't gain additional responsibilities and obligations in terms of keeping the maintenance of the roads and services. With that said, this would be fully connected to municipal water and sewer services. There is no private septic or wells or anything like that. And those would run internal to the development within those private wells. You can see the land lease sites for the 51 single detached dwellings on the north is actually to the left of this image. So on the east and west side of that internal road. And then at the very south end or the right side of this picture, you can see the 4 townhouse units that would provide 4 townhouse buildings would provide a total of 12 units in a different housing block. The central area of the development, right as you come in the main access road, would have a community building off of a private road with some additional visitor parking capacity. And then behind all of that, you can see the different hatched areas, the existing pond. Those would be for community gardens, storage, outdoor recreation, And then the new pond that's shown at the very southeast corner or top right of the image would be for stormwater management. And that would be a private stormwater management facility maintained by the property owner. And then some tree planting is proposed as well. There would be a full landscape plan. Actually, that's labeled there as recent tree planting to help create a bit of a visual buffer to the east. And next slide, please. I've kind of covered some of the basics of the land use concept or how that works. We do have Cohen Hiley assisting on the legal end of things, as there are things that need to be registered on title and so forth in order to facilitate a land use arrangement. This will also require an agreement under Section 41 of the Planning Act with the municipality to ensure the site is developed in accordance with the site plan. As I mentioned, the Planning Act has recently been amended. It used to only allow leases of land from 21 years less a day as the maximum, and it's now extended to the range of 21 to 49 years. What that means is it allows people who want to buy a land lease home, it gives them greater flexibility to finance that home purchase over a longer period. So one of the reasons land lease hasn't really taken hold in much of Ontario is that the Planning Act really constrained it by limiting the lease term to 21 years less a day. And as we know, it's become increasingly challenging for people to get mortgages on those types of terms. This is also gaining traction because of the, as I mentioned, benefits of affordability, and is a bit more of a shared community feel, and is a more compact development style with the need to have internal municipal overlays. I've identified 4 examples that do exist in Wellington County currently. Constantly Estate, Spring Valley Park, Pine Meadows, and Houseway. So there is some familiarity with this concept and approach in the county, and it's shown to work in the past. Just in terms of the overall planning framework, it's a bit similar to 2 land use designations that apply to the yellow residential, which is where the homes will be located. Although the easterly side of the property and the land east of that is designated for industrial, it's clearly not intended for manufacturing or other industry. It's only there to recognize the fact that there is existing infrastructure there, holding ponds and some related setbacks, and that's what the zoning currently zones that area for. Just the holding pond with setback. So the setback would be maintained. It's not intended, obviously, that the purple area be used for any kind of industrial that's part of this project. We have confirmed through the consultation and as the application process that there's no official plan amendments required. And as mentioned, full municipal services are available at 12. Next slide. The zoning very much mirrors the official plan designations. It is set up to be rezoned, so there's no development really possible without changing the zoning of the property, because it's currently zoned for development and not only allowed existing uses. The FD would be changed to site-specific residential zones for both the single detached and condos portions effectively, and then the N1-2 zone would be rezoned to recognize the proposed accessory uses, so the recreation uses that are before. And next slide. And that's shown on the proposed zoning here. The R1C and R3 zones basically would ensure that the site is built very much to the standard of your typical single detached and townhouse standards in the community. But with the difference being these are not separate lots, these are land lease sites. For the purposes of applying zoning, it essentially functions the same way. You still have setbacks from the boundaries of the land lease site, you still have maximum coverage requirements, you still have all of those typical parking requirements for each unit, but they're applied within one ownership parcel as opposed to subdividing the property into multiple lots. Next slide. So that's the end of my presentation, and there are no staff recommendations
recommendations for approval tonight, but we're welcoming any questions that you have about the proposal and look forward to moving this forward at a future meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Oh, I was just gonna ask if you. Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Oh, I should ask if anyone else was registered on Zoom to speak to this.
No, they're not.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'll go back to council if they have any questions or comments. Okay, yep, go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, so I like the idea. I think it gets folks into the market. And did I understand that it's going to be developed all as one parcel? So does that mean that there won't be any future requests for minor variances?
I would certainly.
Absolutely.
That would be the intent. We want to do a more detailed design of the site through the site plan to make sure that all of the home sightings and garages and parking and driveways and so forth. We haven't gone into those precise details just yet, but the layout of the sites and the type of homes that have been provided to us, they all work together without requiring, further variances of those kinds of things that would be built into the zoning.
So we don't have to go through them individually. Just teasing. Councillor Rankin.
Through you, Chair McCabe. I just like to say, I also like the concept. I like the idea of the amount of greenery that you have, the green space and the community garden, and also the amount of trees that are going to be planted. I think it's a great concept, and as well, it, without being sort of pushed together, people do have a better opportunity to own their own home.
Thank you. Councillor Hearn.
I didn't put my hand up, but I like it.
All right. Good.
Like the application.
Good. Yeah, I think it's a neat option for a lot of people, whether they're older adults or just maybe getting into the housing. I like how everything is planned together, that it's got the agri-hood feel to it, and then there's a barn for a community meeting. Community gardens, the community garden up in Mount Forest is fantastic, and it just brings people back to together, and like you said earlier, kind of brings them back to an agricultural feel. I like the idea of all the shuffleboard and pickleball courts as well, and then some storage for trailers, which just another added feature. So really like this idea, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more detailed plans on it. Any other questions or comments from council? All right. So that concludes that, and I have I guess we'll have to have a vote on this, that the public meeting for November 6th, 2023 be adjourned at 4:14. I will ask for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hearn and Councillor Rankin, thank you. Any further discussion on this application? All in favor? Thank you very much. So we'll jump back in and start with our regular meeting of council. Thank you very much, Jessica, for your help with all of this. Yep. Oh yeah. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North resumed the November 6th, 2023 regular meeting of council at 4:15 p.m. I will ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Hearn. Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. I think we're going to stop for 2 minutes, and if anyone needs a break for maybe 5 minutes, I would suggest that we reconvene at 4:20 p.m. All right, it's 4:20. We're back at it. Well, I guess Yeah. I think we're gonna play O Canada finally at the start of our regular meeting, so we all stand. That'd be great. Great, thank you. All right, I have a motion here. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hearn and Councillor Rankin, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council and the public meeting held on October 23rd, 2023 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Thank you. There is no business arising from that previous meeting. And I will call for items of identification of items requiring separate discussion. So this is where we can pull out any items that we want to talk about tonight. Councillor Burke. There we go.
Yes, I'd like to pull 1B,
1B,
yeah, 3B,
3B,
and I think I'm good after that.
You had two reports, Sherry, that you needed to.
Oh,
pull.
yes, I have two
Yeah.
reports that need to be pulled. Sorry.
Right,
I need
BC 28 and 29, right?
I need 2A and 2B pulled for my pecuniary interest.
Okay. Councillor Rankin. One A, 2C. Thank you. Councillor, 4B. Yep. Okay. Any others? Councillor Rankin? You're good? Yeah, okay. Councillor Hearn, I think you have to pull 2C as well. And so, yeah, we've already got it pulled.
Councillor Rankin pulled it, so
Yep.
we're good.
Okay. I had 2C as well. I'd like to pull 6A, it's just with regards to the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, just a quick. I think, yeah, 2C's already pulled. Yeah, I think that's it. So just want to go over everything. So we have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and 2C, 3B, and 4B. Did I get all of those? Oh, and 6A. Sorry, I didn't write that one down. I think that covers it. All right. Yeah, coming up. All right, I have a motion that moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Hearn, that all items listed under the items for consideration on the November 6th, 2023 council agenda, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be approved and the recommendations therein be adopted. All in favor? Thank you. So on to 1A. Let me just get there. It's the adjustment meeting. Public meeting. Yeah, gotta keep going. There. All right. On B, so that would be. The start of it, isn't it? No, that's last week's. Oh, I might be looking at last week. Sorry. Is that on? Right. Right. Or right here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Hearn, seconded by Councillor Reagan, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority Board of Directors special meeting and the Board of Director meeting held on September 21st, 2023. All in favor? Thank you. Who, I think, was this you, Penny? Okay, yep, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. What is the definition of EPR fees? What does the acronym mean? It's on page 36, 6.4.
Trying to think of what that is now off the top of my head.
Page 36.
Page 36.
That's appendix C, the planning report.
You're looking at the one in for Ron Spear?
Yes, I think so.
Page 26. Sorry, page 26.
I've got 36.
Yeah.
Is it
So-
extended responsibility?
The Board of Directors special meeting, September 21st.
I don't have that document in front of me. I did that day.
The EPR fees is listed under 6.4 draft budget review.
Mhm. I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm going to, we'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, thank you.
That's the
I'm
only,
just interested,
yeah,
sorry.
no, I'm sorry, I don't have that answer for you, Penny, I should, sorry, but we'll get back to you. We'll
No,
get
that's
staff to
fine.
follow up on that one.
That's fine.
I believe it's electronic. I don't know.
I want to say it's the rate that we use on the provincial or the conservation parks where you can pay by phone. But I'm not 100% sure on that because we put up we so far we have increased a lot of fees for across the board for the Conservation Authority, but that's going to come up a little bit later on 6A. because that might not be actually what happens with the budget that we've been given from not only Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, but Grand River and then Maitland Valley as well. So those might all come into question, but pretty sure the EPR is that rate. So
Okay,
I
great,
think it's
thank
like the
you.
electronic processing rate. Process remittance or something like that. But we'll get back. Yes, we'll get back to you on that one for sure. All right. On to any more discussion on that one, I guess? No, okay, thanks. All right, on to item 1B. And I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Hearn, seconded by Councillor Burke, that the Council of the Corporation of Wellington Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the Mount Forest Aquatics Ad Hoc Advisory Committee held on October 24th, 2023. I'll open the floor for any discussion. Yep, looking at you, Sherry.
Thank you. So I'd be happy to take any questions with regards to the minutes, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. One, very excited that we're moving forward through the process for the fundraising strategy, and we have a couple of fundraisers coming up. We have the Christmas home tour that is Saturday, November the 25th. It is outlined in the minutes from 10 till 3. The tickets are printed and ready. They're $30. And we have several locations within Mount Forest that are selling the tickets. We've had a lot of participation from local businesses to help the homes that are on the tour. We have 5 homes. This is sort of like an infomercial, I feel like, but just good information to have out there. And we are also participating at the Lions Christmas market, where we'll have both tickets for the home tour and the swag that we have available.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Burke. Where can you remind me where we can buy these tickets or who we can
Yes,
buy
I
them from?
I can tell you that. So the starting point of the event is Mount Forest Greenhouses. And that's where you'll be able to purchase the swag that day as well. Ideal Fashions, Meet the Butcher, Plumes Main Street Interiors, and Country Creations all have tickets on sale.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you very much. All in favor? Great, thank you. On to 2A, and this is our planning. It's a big one. I have a motion in front of me, moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Hearn or Burke, that the sorry, go ahead, Kathy. Oh, sorry, that's right. Sorry, this is hers, right? Sorry. So we'll say it was moved by Councillor.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, all right, thank you. I have a recommendation here that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report DC 2023-028, being a report on consent application severance B68-23, known as part lots 13 and 14, concession 5 in the former Township of Arthur. And further, that the Council of the Township of Wellington North support consent application B68-23 as presented with the following conditions: that the owner satisfy all the requirements of the local municipality, financial and otherwise, included but not limited to taxes paid in full, a fee of $130 for township clearance letter of conditions, or whatever fee is applicable at the time of the clearance under the municipal fees and charges bylaw, which the Township of Wellington North may deem to be necessary at the time of issuance of the certificate of consent for the proper and orderly development of the subject lands. Also, that the owner satisfy the requirements of the Township of Wellington North in reference to parkland dedication consistent with bylaw 011-22. And also that the owner enter into agreement apportioning any future maintenance costs on any municipal drain impacted by the application, and that the owner shall provide a $500 deposit to cover the cost of reapportionment If it is determined that the municipal drains impacted by the application and a fee of $250 for the drainage superintendent's review of the application to determine status of any drain. And that the driveway access be provided to the retained and severed lands to the satisfaction of the Township of Wellington North. And further, that the council organizes or authorizes the development clerk to file with the Secretary Treasurer of the Planning and Land Divisions Committee at the County of Wellington a letter of clearance on these conditions on completion of the same. Opening the floor for discussion. I think this is the only reason we were pulling it was because of Sherry's interest in this. I don't have any other questions about this. Someone else? All right. I'll call all in favor. Thank you. That is passed. I think she's out of 2B as well, right? Okay, so we'll keep going. On to 2B. This is a report. I'll get Councillor Rankin to move it and Councillor Hearn to second it. This report is DC 2023-029, consent application B75-23, Shill Land Holdings, Inc. And I have a recommendation that the Council of the Township of Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive DC 2023-29, being a report on consent application severance B75-23, known as Part Lot 13, Concession 2 in the former Township of Arthur. And further, that the Township of Wellington North support consent application B75-23 as presented with the following conditions. That the owner satisfy all the requirements of the local municipality, financial and otherwise, included but not limited to taxes paid in full, a fee of $130 for a township clearance letter of conditions, or whatever fee is applicable at the time of clearance under the municipal fees and charges bylaw, which the Township of Wellington North may deem necessary at the time of issuance of the certificate of consent for the proper and orderly development of subject lands. Also, that the owner satisfy the requirements of the Township of Wellington North in reference to parkland dedication consistent with bylaw 01122, that the owner enter into agreement apportioning any future maintenance costs on any municipal drain impacted by the application, and the owner shall provide $500 deposit to cover the cost of reapportionment if it is determined that there are municipal drains impacted by the application, and a $250 fee for the drainage superintendent's review of the application to determine status of any drain. Also, that the owner shall decommission the existing septic system and apply for and obtain a building permit for a new septic system, and that's the septic system be constructed to the satisfaction of the building department. That, and as well, that the driveway access be provided to the retained and severed lands to the satisfaction of the Township of Wellington North. That the owner obtain the zoning approval for a reduction in interior side yard proposed is 15.2 meters, whereas the bylaw requires 18.3 meters for the farm shed on the retained portion on the property. That the dwelling be prohibited on the retained lands to the satisfaction of the County of Wellington Planning Department. And further, that council authorizes the development clerk to file with the Secretary Treasurer of Planning and Land Division Committee at the County of Wellington a letter, of clearance on these conditions and completion of the same. Any questions or comments? Took longer to read than to vote on this. We'll go from there. All in favor? Thank you. Man, Andy did pick a good one to go from. All right, on to report 2C. I think Sherry back. Yeah, and now Lisa, you're out. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to make this one quick. I have this is report DC 2023-30 consent application B79-23 Stuart Wright and Wright Haven Farms Limited. It's a lengthy recommendation. I don't know, I just read the other two, but in time interest of time, I'll say this was moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Rankin. And I'll push this on to the floor for discussion. Go ahead, Penny.
I just had a question again, just from my lack of knowledge. What is a deviated road?
So Darren, you go ahead, Darren.
Through you, Councillor McCabe, the road cuts the corner of the farm. It doesn't follow the township road allowance.
So the owner actually owns the piece of land on the other side of that deviated road? There's a
yeah.
little bit, if the
That
road
little
is going like
triangle?
this, the deviated is going like this, the owner owns that little bit in the corner?
And the lands that the road is on.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
it intersects it kind of on a curve as it comes, as you come across, or I guess west of Highway 6 on side road 10. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting one because it's kind of our road, but it's on private land. So along with everything else in this agreement, we're going to cover that off so that it is our road in the end. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
I just have one quick question on that. There's a note in here that the barn has to be demolished. Is that right?
Yep, that would be a standard township condition on these type of severances.
Oh,
That would be inappropriate for a barn to be that size to be on a residential lot.
okay. I got you. And that's suitable to the applicant?
The applicant has not been consulted. So they'll get a chance to review the draft conditions and those will be heard at Land Division Committee.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. That was 2C. I'm gonna grab Lisa. You got her? Okay. Oh, okay. On to 3B. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Hearn, seconded by Councillor Rankin. Report TR 2023-009, 2024 fees and charges bylaw updates for various services. The recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report TR 2023-009 being a report on 2024 fees and charges bylaw updates for the various services. And that council directs staff to proceed with the updates to reflect the changes outlined herein for the 2024 calendar year. And further, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the bylaw. I will open the floor for discussion. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Burke.
Yeah, I was the one that pulled this. So my questions are based around the bullets under Schedule F, planning changes proposed. One, I'm just looking for clarification where it says cash in lieu of parkland is going up to 7,500 per unit as opposed to per lot. Is that correct?
Darren,
I see Brooke.
which one of you two want to take this? Okay, Darren, go ahead.
Yes, so per unit, just to be more compliant with our parkland dedication bylaw. Previously, we weren't collecting per unit because our fees and charges bylaw wasn't in sync with our parkland bylaw. So this is just making them both uniform.
Okay, I'm good. Honestly, I'm good with it. I just wanted clarification to make sure that it was per lot and then it was going per unit. The other question I guess I have is based on the increase of fees. The compliance and clearances of severance conditions is going from 130 to 250. And then our employee service fees are going from 55 to 125. I'm just wondering why such a large increase when everything else based on numbers is sort of relevant.
Go ahead, Darren.
So I can shed some light on that one. The clearance letter for the severances, that's severances are becoming more and more complex, and they're taking a lot of staff time and research to be able to clear these conditions. The other item, the 125 in the table, is really a carryover from the roads department table. So just for people, for developers' ease, they'll find their fees in that table as well. But for the planning department's administrative services, that's going to remain the same, and we're just going to use the administrative table. So the fees really aren't changing. It's just going to be more user-friendly for developers and people paying fees.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to see that we're making it easier for folks to navigate the system.
That's our hope anyways.
Tape reduction.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darren. Thanks, Sherry. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Rankin.
Thank you. I just had one that was close to Councillor Burke's, and that was for the Committee of Adjustment. The minor variance was increased from 2,000 to 2,500. Is that variance for each unit, say in a subdivision, or if you had a cluster, say of 4, would that one fee apply to the cluster?
So there's no unit fee for committee of adjustment. So committee of adjustment is minor variance applications. If I
It says Committee of Adjustment minor variance increased from 2,000 to 2,500.
right, so there's no unit count. That's an application fee. It doesn't matter what the development is, whether it's an industrial property, a farm property, or a residential property.
So one whole subdivision would just be one fee.
If the subdivision before was registered needed a minor variance for some reason, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. We're on to 4B. This is I'll say this was moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Hearn. The report, here we go. That the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North received report OPS 2023-039, being report on the 2025 recreation and program rate and fees, and that the Council of the Township of Wellington North approved the recommended 2025 recreation and program rates and fees, and further that the council authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign the bylaw. I'll open the floor for discussion. Yep, go ahead, Councillor Rankin.
Thank you. I just had a question again. On page 20, on page 75, under for the skating general admission, the walking track has the fee of $3 or a monthly pass of 20. I'm just wondering if that means that there will be no sponsorship for 2024 for the track.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Penny. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, through you, Councillor McCabe. Penny, yeah, we do have sponsors for the year, but there's no contract yet for the following year. So we're going to leave those rates in there in case we don't find sponsors. It's just a backup plan. We're hoping we have sponsors for that, and we're working with another group to get sponsors for our parents and tot skating.
Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Tom. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. And we're on to 6 A. I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Hearn, seconded by Councillor Burke, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive correspondence dated October 27th, 2023 from Eric Dowing, General Manager, Secretary, Treasurer, Acting, from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority regarding the 2024 draft budget. And I will open the floor for discussion on that. I think it was just me that pulled this one, and there's an interesting thing I think that's going on with the budgets this year, not just for Saugeen, but for all of our conservation authorities. That include Grand River and Maitland Valley, and of course Saugeen Valley. And we are on our board of SVCA, we have assumed for our budget for 2024 that the province is going to allow us to increase our fees and that EPR rates for 2024. We had thought that was going to happen last year as well. But I think it was December 28th, 2022, the province made an announcement late in the afternoon on a Friday that we couldn't increase any fees. No conservation authority could increase any fees. So that threw us back kind of to the drawing board for the budget. So while this budget from all of our CAs are in, there's a kind of a caveat, because if we can't, or if the province again comes out at the last minute and says you can't raise any fees, then there's a good possibility that just in Saugeen Valley, it could be between a 20 and 30% increase in our fees, which means that gets passed on to all the municipalities' levies that we pay for each conservation authority. So it's, again, not really sure what's going to happen with the province and the conservation authorities, but we'll have to keep that in mind, because it might increase that much, and then we'll have to find reserves or money from somewhere or from some other program, or we just have to find the money somewhere. I'm not 100% sure how the province, as they claim, will always make municipalities whole for the prices that we are fully down, like more download of dollars to us. Since my time on council, even with the previous Kathleen Wynn's government, the payment that Saugeen Valley got from the province was 154,000, and I don't think that's actually moved probably for closer to probably 20 years, 15 or 20 years. So they're seriously underfunding it, and this is not going to make it any easier if they come back and tell Conservation Ontario that all conservation authorities can't increase their fees. So again, another cost for the municipality to bear. So we'll just keep that in mind as we go forward and see what happens on the last week of 2023, I guess. So stay tuned. Sorry.
Just interject, at 5 o'clock, we're going to have to pass a resolution to go beyond our 4-hour meeting.
Oh, okay.
Have it here.
We haven't done that in a long time. Any other questions or comments on this? Great, thank you. All in favor? Great, thank you very much. There any notice of motion tonight? Seeing none, I do not have any. We'll go to each counselor for your community group meeting report. I'll start with you, Councillor Burke. Anything?
Yeah, I have nothing. I think I did my infomercial. I think everybody on council was invited to the BIA AGM that is next week. So I think I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rankin? And Councillor Hearn?
No, nothing to update on.
Okay, I don't have any reports. Gonna move to. Where's it on to move to? We got a motion here moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Rankin, that bylaw number 102-2023 and 103-2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted. Any discussion on that? Yep, go ahead, Benny.
A question. And for the false alarms, I'm just wondering, if there is a reason that the fire alarms have been falsely started, and there is some, where I'm looking for. If there's some way that you can overcome that and reduce that fire call, is the number of calls turned back to zero within the 1 year? You can have 2 false alarms without having been charged.
Oh, I
And
see
the
what you
third
mean.
One, you have a payment of $600 for it. So I'm just wondering if you can have find a problem and rectify that problem. Are the numbers turned back to zero again within that 1 year?
For each property or business or whatever. That's a really great question. I see Fire Chief Chris is there. Welcome, and looking for you for an answer on that.
That's it's a great question. I think I got it all. Your microphone was off, so I think I heard it for the most part, but you're wondering if you do get multiple false alarms to the same location and then they rectify that one problem. If there's a different problem, if that resets it.
I think the question was, say I have 2 false alarm on my property or my business, does it get set back to zero in the next calendar year? Is that?
No, well. Sorry, I do believe it might get set back to zero within the next calendar year. However, what I'm wondering is if you have 2 false alarms and they are caused for a reason other than your own negligence, and you can rectify that problem within the same calendar year before you hit number 3, will that number be scrolled back to zero if the problem is rectified?
Yeah, great question. It's a very complicated issue. So most of the times, if we have multiple false alarms at that same facility, it can be caused by various different causes. For example, somebody could pull the fire alarm once, and then you have a faulty detector another time, and then you might have a cooking incident another time. So there's multiple reasons that they are. So it's always at the discretion of the chief fire official to see whether we want to send a bill or not. And for your reason, because it's multiple problems that might be like a cooking fire is not necessarily a false alarm problem. That's a problem with educating the tenants on cooking. So yes and no, I guess is the best way to answer your question, is because it's usually not the same reason that the alarm sounds at particular buildings.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Councilor Rankin. Should we just go and do it now? All right, all in favor? Sorry for the bylaws. Sorry, thank you. That's passed. So I have a motion here, moved by Councilor Rankin, seconded by Councilor Hearn, that the November 6, 2023 regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North be extended past the 4-hour curfew as set out in section 23.1 of bylaw number 111-21, being the procedure bylaw for governing the calling, place, and proceedings of meetings of council and its committee. Thank you. Thank you for that. All those in favor? Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. That has passed. So we haven't had to do that for a little while. Moving on to the cultural moment. So the cultural moment for November 6th celebrates Lieutenant Samuel Lewis Honey, VC. He was born in Caen, Ontario on February 9th, 1894. Known as Lou, he was the eldest son of Reverend George and Meta Honey. Reverend Honey was the Methodist minister of the Caen Circuit churches and would have occupied the Methodist parsonage at the corner of Maple Street and Highway 89 in Con until 1896, when Reverend Honey was called to Listowel. Samuel obtained a teaching certificate and then graduated in 1914 with a certificate in the study of teaching methods and took a course as a cadet instructor. He had planned to enter college, but instead enlisted on January 22nd, 1915, and he was promoted to acting sergeant during basic training in Davenport, England on October 31st, 1915. Because of his acting rank, Honey went to Aldershot to take special courses in physical training and bayonet fighting, and then taught these courses at Bramshaw Camp in August until 1916. After attaining the rank of sergeant that same month, he was transferred to the 78th Infantry Battalion and went to France. On February 22nd, 1917, he earned the Military Medal for Gallantry for raiding a German trench and covering his platoon while under heavy grenade fire. At the Battle of Vimy Ridge in April 1917, he earned the Distinguished Conduct Medal for leadership and maintaining morale in the face of extreme heavy fire. He became lieutenant in 1917. After Vimy Ridge, he returned to Bramshaw Shot Camp, became an instructor, and then attended an officer's training course before returning to the front October 1917. His regiment pushed through 3 positions before taking the heavily fortified German position in Borland Wood. On September 27th, 1918, all of the commanding officers were killed and Honey assumed command. On that day, he won his Victoria Cross. He rushed a German position single-handed, capturing the guns and 10 prisoners. Then he went out alone after dark to locate a German post and returned with a party to capture it. He was wounded on September 29th and died on September 30th, 1918, the last day of the 78th Battalion's attack. Honey was idolized by his men. He was buried in France. In July 1964, a plaque was unveiled in front of Westcott United Church in Con, where it remained until 2008. After the church closed, this plaque was moved to the front of the Legion in Mount Forest, and in 1975, his family presented his medals to the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa. And this was submitted by Councillor Penny Rankin on behalf of the Wellington North Cultural Roundtable. So thank you for that. Some great history in all parts of our township, especially young men going over in such droves of numbers for a small municipality. Good timing on this as well. All right, I have a list of the upcoming meeting and announcements. The Chamber of Commerce is meeting November 8th at 5:30. Mount Forest Legion Remembrance Day services will be held November 11th at 10:40. The mayor, Andy Lennox, is scheduled to be there, but if he doesn't, I guess, get any better than what he is now, I'm hoping Councillor Burke or Councillor Rankin will take his spot in laying the wreath for the township.
Yes. Steve,
Okay,
I'll be there anyways. I generally attend, so hoping that Mayor Lennox gets well, but if he needs my assistance, I'm happy to help.
Okay, thank you. We'll let you know for sure. Arthur's Remembrance Day service is at 10:45 on November 11th. Our offices will be closed Remembrance Day, but on November 13th is when it will be recognized. So this coming Monday, a week today, our offices will be closed. The Mount Forest BIA Annual General Meeting, as Councillor Burke announced, is on November 15th at 8 a.m. It's at the Mount Forest Sports Complex. And the Mount Forest Ladies Kickoff to Christmas is Thursday, November 16th from 4 until 8 p.m. And our next regular meeting of council will be November 20th at 7 p.m. Any other meetings or announcements or dates that of notable?
We have a special budget meeting.
Oh, that's on the 28th or 29th?
It's on the 29th at 2 p.m.
Okay, yeah. So we remember special council meeting at 2 p.m. Okay, on November 29th. Just keep that in your calendars. This is for a special budget meeting. Thank you for that, Karen. All right, already, no, I have to do this. So I have the confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Hearn, that bylaw number 104-2023 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North at its regular meeting held November 6th at November 6th, 2023, be read a first, second, and third time and enacted. All those in favor? Thank you. And finally, I have a motion here moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Hearn that the regular council meeting of November 6th, 2023 be adjourned at 5:05 p.m. All those in favor? Thank you very much, and thanks for the marathon. Got a lot talked about, and yeah. Everyone have a great week and have a good evening. And we'll see everyone probably at the Remembrance Day ceremonies. Thanks
Have a
very
good
much.
week.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.